So, I want to share something I've observed working with business owners whose net worth is $10 million and up. When I look at these clients and how they structure their taxes and their wealth, the same patterns show up over and over. And when I look at a business owner who are struggling to get traction on tax planning, the same gaps show up over and over. This video is about those patterns, what my highest net worth clients do, when they started, and how they think about the coordination of their financial team. I want to be clear. I'm not going to tell you these clients have secret strategies the IRS doesn't know about. They don't. Everything I'm going to describe is inside the tax code. But what most business owners never access any of it because they don't have the right team or the right timing. I'm Matt Losanno with Cinder Wealth. The first pattern I see consistently with $10 million plus clients is that they started planning early. Not 6 months before they sold their business, not when they were already wealthy. They started when the business was growing and the future was still uncertain. Here's why that matters. A lot of the strategies that create the most value has IRS timelines attached to them. Estate freeze techniques need some time to season. Qualified small business stock treatment requires a 5-year hold period. Cash balance plans work best when they're funded over multiple years before a business sale. If you start planning at 6 months before exit, many of those opportunities may already be limited or unavailable. But there's another piece to this. My $10 million plus clients know their number. In one case, I worked with a client who had a plan from a large firm telling him he needed $50 million to retire. So he turned down a $40 million offer because he thought he had to keep pushing. When we redid his plan, it turned out 30 to 35 million would have been more than enough. But by then, the offer was gone. 5 years later, he's still trying to get back to that valuation. Knowing your number removes the emotional trap of chasing the highest possible outcome at the expense of a good enough one. My $10 million plus clients almost universally have a clear picture of what they actually need. And that clarity lets them make rational decisions instead of emotional ones. All right, the second pattern. My highest net worth clients are not relying on a single retirement plan. They're running what I'll call full stack. At the base, they have a 401k with a profit sharing. In 2026, that gets them up to $72,000 in annual contributions, combining employee and employer contributions, plus an $8,000 catch-up if they're older than 50. On top of that, many of them have cash balance plans. A cash balance plan is a defined benefit plan. Think of it like a pension you design for yourself. And depending on your age, the contribution limits are significantly higher than any 401k. At age 45, you can potentially contribute around $178,000 per year. At age 50, around $220,000, and at age 55, around $270,000, and at 60, around $320,000. So if you layer that on top of a 401k, and it's possible to be deferring $250,000 to $350,000 or more annually. I had a client who layered a cash balance plan on top of their 401k. They were able to defer over $350,000 in taxable income every year. At their combined federal and state tax rate, that was roughly $150,000 in actual tax savings every year. They did that 5 years before selling the business. Now, here's the key. These clients are not doing this because they found a loophole. They're doing it because they have an advisor who looked at the full picture and built a plan around maximizing every legal avenue available. Most business owners have never had that conversation. The third pattern is the one that separates $10 million plus clients from almost everyone else. And it is not a dollar amount, it's a behavior. They coordinate their advisors. What I find in the industry is that most CPAs, attorneys, and financial advisors, they don't communicate. Or if they do, it's very minimal. Your CPA is over here doing their thing, your attorney drafted your documents years ago, and your financial advisor is managing your investments. Nobody is asking whether all the pieces actually fit together. My $10 million plus clients are the exception. Almost all of them has someone playing the role of a quarterback, someone whose job it is to make sure the tax strategy, the legal structure, the retirement plan, and the estate plan all work together. And I can tell you from experience, the gaps between those disciplines are where significant value can be lost. I have reviewed buy-sell agreements where the attorney drafted the legal document and the insurance agent sold the policy, but nobody checked whether the policy titling matched the legal structure. The misalignment could have resulted in millions of unnecessary estate taxes. Not because anyone did their job wrong, but because nobody was coordinating. I have seen entity structures set up for liability protection that were completely wrong for the planned exit. potentially costing the owner millions in capital gains that could have been avoided with a different structure set up years earlier. Here's the thing, coordination is not something that happens automatically. You have to build it intentionally. You need a team that communicates, and you need someone on that team whose job it is to hold the whole picture. That is the single most consistent thing I see in my highest net worth clients. Not a specific strategy, a coordinated team. So, when do you start? The answer my 10 million plus clients would give you is earlier than you think. The estate freeze techniques I mentioned, the ones that move business growth outside of your taxable estate, they rely heavily on valuations and timing. If the transaction happens too close to a sale, the IRS can challenge whether that valuation reflects a fair market value. In practice, planning done within a year of a transaction is much harder to defend, while planning implemented several years in advance is significantly more defensible. The cash balance plan generally works best when funded over multiple years to generate the maximum benefit. The entity structure question needs to be answered well before you're ready to exit. If you think about it like steering a ship, at the beginning of the trip, small adjustments get you to your destination. If you wait until you're close to port, you might have to pull a full U-turn, and U-turns are much harder when the ship is already moving. I'm not saying you need $10 million to start doing this. I'm saying the business owners who have $10 million in net worth started doing this when they were building it. Here are the 3 patterns one more time. Number 1, they started early and they know their number. They didn't wait until 6 months before selling to think about tax strategy. 2, many run a full stack retirement plan, 401k, profit sharing, cash balance plan layered on top, not just one account. And number 3, they coordinate their advisors, CPA, attorney, financial advisor, estate planner, all working from the same plan, all talking to each other. None of this is exclusive to $10 million clients. Any business owner can build this, but it requires intentionality and it requires starting before you feel like you need to. If you found this helpful, subscribe. I put out videos on tax strategy, exit planning, and wealth coordination for business owners every week.